Yo, what's going on, guys? Pretty important video, or I guess pretty exciting video rather. The two new Season X heroes are out. We now have 22 Season X heroes, and we have a first look at their skills, what they're all about. So let's talk about these heroes. This is a first take, obviously. I don't have any, information outside of what we're given in the game, unfortunately. But so we'll just have to talk about them with kind of on paper how they will perform. So first up, we have Scarlet Siren. She's a ranged fighter. She looks exactly like Miss Fortune from League of Legends. China's #1 in terms of copyright infringement. So good job, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I think she looks cool. She's a babe, so +1 for that. But hey, it is what it is. Anyway, let's get into the hero. So her second ability is Scarlet Assault. Combat skill, effective range of 5. Combat skill meaning it happens throughout the rounds. Effective range of 5 means from her position, you can hit basically the back row or wherever. So anyway, this ability, it's a 100% chance to deal 100% damage to the enemy front row squad, with a 40% chance to deal an additional 500% damage to the enemy squad with the lowest troops. So the first part of this ability, basically every single turn, she's just going to deal 100% damage to the front squad. It's basically an auto attack. 100% damage is not that much. It's probably equivalent to essentially, just an auto attack. So it's kind of an extra auto attack on the front row hero. A little bit weird. 40% chance is nice though. Since this is 100, it's basically exactly 40. So this could happen 3 to 5 times a game pretty much. To deal an additional 500% damage is nice. And it's to the enemy squad with the lowest amount of troops, which is even nicer. So it's kind of an execute ability. It's similar to Iron Guard's ability. And execute abilities are actually better than their damage numbers appear. Because you can sort of eliminate a squad from battle. It's very important, and it's quite good to do so. They can't use skills, they can't heal, they can't do stuff, they can't deal damage. So it's very good to eliminate squads and kind of focus fire on certain squads. So this might be nice. However, since it is just lowest troops, you might just end up hitting the tank a bunch of times and dealing less damage because they're tankier. But we'll see. In my opinion, this is actually a buff to the ability, the fact that it targets the lowest troops. So her third and fourth, it's just +50 resistance and +50 might, just like every other season hero. Her fifth ability is Chain Explosion, just looks like a bunch of barrels of dynamite or something. Combat skill, effective range of 5. 1 turn preparation, so this is different than what we normally see on every other hero, just the way that it's written out linguistically, I guess. It's a 40% chance to attack 5 times. Each attack selects a random enemy squad. This is similar to, I guess, Knight from Season 2, the Knight back row fighter from Season 2. Each attack deals 150% damage, so 150 times 5, 750% damage. Each attack also has a 65% chance to apply a status based on the enemy squad for 1 turn. And this is actually based on the enemy troop type. So she will disarm shooters, and she will silence fighters and vehicles. So these are 2 forms of CC. Disarm essentially makes it so that the enemy squad cannot basic attack, but they can use their abilities. Silence is the exact opposite, so they can basic attack, but they cannot use their abilities. These debuffs can stack up to 2 stacks. Essentially what this means is, since it attacks 5 times, if she attacks the front row and it's a fighter, and then the next time she attacks back row and it's a shooter, and then the next time she comes back and attacks that same front row hero, he will now be silenced for 2 turns. So pretty good. It's a 65% chance, which means it'll probably occur 3 times, like 2 or 3 times whenever this activates. So probably you won't be seeing it stacked for 2 rounds, but who knows? It's luck, right? So it could. Let's move on. Overall, with this ability, 750% damage is pretty nice. So she might actually be dealing some pretty solid damage. And then the status is okay. These aren't the best forms of CC, but hey, whatever. Her 6th ability is +15% damage. She's just a damage heavy hero, so it's good that we see plus damage here. It's kind of expected. Her 7th, she just gets plus might. Again, a damage hero, so expected. And then her 8th ability is Big Cannon, Way of the Flame. Prep skill, effective range of 6. That's important to note, because Nomad, if he is in the back row and Scarlet Siren is in the back row, this ability can hit Nomad. Most abilities cannot. when they're placed in sort of their optimal placing. So in turns 1, 4, and 7, I think this is just like Vanguard or maybe Dawn Guardian, whatever the case may be. She sets burning status on 2 random enemy squads for 2 turns. This deals 150% damage on each turn, so it's 150 times 2 times 2, 600%. This hero's squad gains 35% counter against vehicles. So this is the first time that they've, I think, countered correctly. Vehicles beat fighters, so the fact that she is countering vehicles is good. Good job, devs. And all allied squads deal plus 50% skill damage against burning targets. Plus 50% skill damage is huge. That is significant. However, here is the issue with this skill. And I wish, I mean, the devs might have done this on purpose, but if they didn't, this might be a little bit interesting. So, since she is a fighter, Scarlet Siren is a fighter hero. She doesn't get plus combat speed from any of her abilities. This ability right here, Wave the Flame, will probably attack last in the round, right? That's just how it works, or at least in her formation, she'll probably attack last. She will burn them last, so this plus 50% skill damage will only count on the second turn, basically, right? So on turns 2, 5, and 8, will this actually affect her allies? So it's still okay. It's still 3 turns of plus 50% skill damage on 2 enemies. That's still pretty huge. But it might not be as big as people are at first glance, because normally you would think, oh, this is going to last for 2 turns, and it happens 3 times, so that's 6 turns. No, it's really only effective on 3 turns based on how combat speed works in this game. So I don't know if devs meant to do that, or if they didn't. If they meant it to be 6, this will be much weaker than they anticipated. But if they just meant it to be 3, then hey, whatever. We get plus 50% skill damage for 3 turns. That's a lot. So anyway, that's pretty much Scarlet Siren. You're probably going to place her in the back row. The meta right now is basically just tank, support, damage dealer. So she might do enough damage to be in the back row. Akin to a hero like Death Rider or Nomad, for example. I don't know what that is on there, but anyway. It's 500, so I guess 600% damage on this ability. 40, yeah, that's pretty good. Decent. 750 on a 40% is quite nice. And then 600 on this, but it's only 3 times, so that's actually pretty good damage. Scarlet Siren will probably be doing decent damage. She is susceptible to CC, so she has nothing that's going to prevent her from getting CC'd. So immediately off the bat, Death Rider is going to counter Scarlet Siren pretty significantly, in my opinion. He's probably just going to shut her down like every time. He will be a big counter to Scarlet Siren. So you probably have to place her in the middle row, which is okay. That's fine. If you do that, then we might actually see Scarlet Siren doing fairly well, especially because not this one, because of this countering against vehicles. So we'll sort of have to see how this goes. Quite likely you're going to want to place her in the middle row, and there's another reason for that. Nomad. So in my opinion, Scarlet Siren, the purpose of Scarlet Siren is to counter Nomad. She is a fighter hero, so already fighters counter shooters. But this ability right here, this chain explosion, she applies disarm for shooters. And if you place her in the middle row, which I probably suggest you do, because again, she's just going to get shit on by Death Rider. If you're placing her in the middle row, the effective range can now reach Nomad. If Nomad is disarmed, he basically is useless. And based on how many times this attacks and stuff like that, this will occur. It's unfortunate that this is a 1-turn prep, so this will probably only occur maybe twice per game, maybe 3 times. But quite likely you'll see at least one of the attacks disarming Nomad. So 3 disarms, 3 rounds of disarms against a Nomad is pretty huge. Even more is better, which we could see. So yeah. I think she's basically just going to be a Nomad counter, and that's about it. She'll get whacked by DR if she's in the back row, so you kind of have to put her in the middle, and then if you do put her in the middle, she can now disarm Death Rider. So who do I think she's going to be paired up with? quite likely we'll just see sort of the typical kind of pairings still. So the tanks are going to remain the tanks, right? Glutton, Kamikaze, I don't know, Tech Priestess, Canoness, whoever. So probably just Glutton, Tech Priestess, Siren, or Glutton, Canoness, Siren, or TP, Cannon, Siren. Something like that. It's a full fighter combo, so you get that additional might and resistance from the buildings, from having all 3 fighters, and that's probably all we're going to see. She might do a little bit better than Hummingbird. I'm not sure if she can replace Hummingbird. If she can't, she might not be that good. That's probably the way I'm going to see it, and quite likely you'll want to put her in the middle, like I had said, especially on defense. So it'll be something like TP, Siren, Cannon. Wherever you played Hummingbird in before, you can probably put Siren in, and it'll probably do decent. I'm not terribly sure. She doesn't seem OP. I would probably just give her a 3 off the bat. So that's Scarlet Siren. Oh, I should mention the burning status. Again, since this is only on the kind of turns 2, 5, and 8, it's not on 6 turns. Her synergy with Inquisitor probably isn't as good as some people are suggesting. It could be, and if it is, then you'll probably see something like Valkyrie, Inquisitor, Siren, or Inquisitor, Siren, Valkyrie. Something like that, maybe. I don't really know. But actually, probably not. Valkyrie won't do that well with Siren. So I don't know. I don't really know where you would put Inquisitor in with Siren. It's kind of a weird combo. I don't really think the synergy is there. Anyway, let's move on to the next hero. The next hero is Shadow Bernard. What a name. Anyway, he's a direct copy, I guess, from Cyberpunk 2077. He's the Keanu Reeves type character. So a +2 for copyright infringement. Good job, devs. All the characters in this game with the name John Wick or Baba Yaga, which is essentially 1,000 players probably. You guys now all have a hero that you can kind of use, I guess. He's basically John Wick, right? So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of cool, I guess. Anyway, he's a defensive archer, meaning tank, front row sort of archer, shooter. I don't know why they say archers, but it's shooters. Anyway, let's get into his abilities. His second ability kind of looks like a ninja pathing thing without a trace. It's kind of like Dragon Ball Z, which this is also Dragon Ball completely. He's just turning Super Saiyan, and then this is sort of, when they like zigzag in space or whatever the hell. That kind of looks like that, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, without a trace, each time your squad takes damage, they gain a 25% evade chance, stackable up to 100. After a successful evade, it resets to 0. So do keep in mind 0 is a thing. It's not 25. It starts at 0. So you're gonna guaranteed you will be hit the first time around. If you're hit twice, you gain a 25% chance. At that, once you get hit, the next hit, it'll be a 25% chance to evade. If it goes through, the third attack will be a 50%, fourth 75, fifth 100. All right, so it's not 4, it's 5, but whatever. This is damage, so it's not like skills or whatever, or basic attacks. It's every type of damage, meaning it will occur fairly often, in my opinion, especially against a hero like Nomad or Ivan or I don't know, someone who does Phantom Walker, for example, who curses. But yeah, so this will probably occur a bunch of times. Evasion's not the best skill for most heroes, but since this will probably occur often and throughout the game, this is probably a little bit better. You'll find in some battle reports, if you're watching the battle reports, it says dodge. That's evasion. So anyway, let's move on. Again, 50% resistance, 50% might, just like every other hero. His fifth ability, Transfusion Strike. I think this is Shadow. Shadow is all based on his fifth ability, and we will get into a little bit kind of grammatical details in here as you'll find in a bit. So this just looks like Iron Man, kind of cool, I guess. 40% chance to trigger 2 other friendly squads siphon 60% might and resistance from 1 random enemy squad. Meanwhile, each basic attack has a 100% chance to deal 250% bonus damage for 1 turn. So there are kind of 2 things at play here, I think. The first one, well, it's just a 40% chance. So again, it'll occur like 3 to 5 times per game. It could be more, it could be less. It's a percentage, but that's kind of what you should expect. 2 other friendly squads siphon 60% might and resistance. So if you don't know what siphon means, it basically means steal. So you would take 60% from the enemy, put it on yourself. So it's really a transaction of 120. And it's for might and resistance. So it's really a transaction of 240. It's on 2 squads, or 2 friendly squads do it. So really it's a transaction of 480 might and resistance. I think, right? This is how it's written. 480 is huge. That's almost 50%. It's probably like, I don't know, 40% or something like that. 40% of kind of a maxed base's might and resistance. That's enormous. This skill might be OP just from this siphoning. Just from this first siphon thing. This only lasts for 1 turn, mind you, but still pretty significant with a 40% chance. Meanwhile, each basic attack has a 100% chance to deal 250% bonus damage. Now, here's the confusion that I am getting from this, and I will probably ask. There is a localization guy in our Discord. If you're not in the Discord, the sort of Last Shelter community Discord, join up. But there is a localization guy who does he works for the development team. So he might be able to help me out. Normally he doesn't know kind of what the skills do. He just sort of helps with the linguistical translations from Chinese or whatever to English. So I might have to ask him what this means. I don't know if it means Shadow. Each basic attack from Shadow has 100% chance to deal 250% bonus damage, or if it applies to the 2 other friendly squads. It says meanwhile here, so I don't know why they put this word in here. It makes me think that it's only on Shadow, but we'll go off the assumption for now because quite likely it's going to affect the 2 other friendly squads. A little bit of a confusion. We'll have to see if anybody has 1 copy. Actually, yeah, you only need 1 copy of Shadow. So if someone has 1 copy of Shadow and wants to run some tests for this, please let me know, because it will definitely affect how I'm scoring Shadow. And I'm sure at least 1 person has 1 copy of Shadow. The way that you'd easily be able to I guess, find this out is you just take, on the very first round, you take the basic attacks of Shadow and of any of your friendly squad. Once this occurs, you take the basic, after this occurs, you take the basic attack damage of Shadow and the basic attack damage of your other enemy squad, and you'll see kind of who gets that additional 250% bonus damage, right? Pretty easy test. So if somebody out there can do that for me, that'd be super cool. Anyway, moving on, his 6th ability, Awaken, HP plus 15. Great, means he's going to be a great tank. HP, best defensive stat in the game, like I talk about every day. And that will continue to do so forever. HP is great. Might, so a little bit interesting, he gives plus might. Now this is cool. This is a little bit of a nuanced thing, but whatever, we'll talk about it because why not? The fact that he gives plus might instead of plus resistance is actually good. He doesn't need plus resistance because he has this evasion ability. So most of the time he's not going to be taking any damage. So it doesn't really matter, not most of the time, but a lot of the time he will take 0 damage. So it doesn't matter if he has a super high resistance number, he'll just take 0 damage, right? So generally it's going to be better to give his teammates might. But again, it doesn't really matter. This is kind of interchangeable, and everything I said is like, very, very minute details. So his 8th ability, Faith Guard, again, he is Dragon Ball. He's just turned Super Saiyan. 33% chance to recover 80% troops after a successful evasion. 33% chance to take 35% reduced damage. It shouldn't be minus. He takes 35% reduced damage. So he takes 35% less damage. They need to fix this. 33% chance to cause 2 random enemy squads to take 15% more damage. So that's correct, but hey. Each chance is calculated individually and it does not stack, and each effect lasts for 2 turns. So it basically just means it's a 100% chance for only one of these to occur every turn. Now, let's talk about these ones individually, because this chance to recover 80% troops after a successful evasion is not very good, in my opinion. It depends how many times he evades. I'm assuming he will probably only evade like 4 times a game, maybe. I don't know, maybe more. If it's something like 6, I would say if it's 6 or more, like pretty much guaranteed, then it's pretty good for him to recover this amount of troops. If it's anything less than 6, then this first ability is kind of bad. 80% is not that big, and it's only for himself. The next one, 35% reduced damage. That's okay, but sort of the whole point of him is kind of this evasion thing. Not the whole point, but he's going to be evading a lot more than taking damage, so kind of interesting, but whatever. It makes him a good tank, so it might be okay. And then this 35% chance to cause 2 random enemy squads to take 50% more damage is pretty good. It's 30% more damage. And again, all of these last for 2 turns. So not terrible here. It's kind of weak from the devs. It's not very creative, but you know, it is what it is. So I don't think this ability is that great.